It is day 3 of SEC Football Media Days live from Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame. Longshore and McKnight here with you, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And our good friends at Yellowhammer News and yellowhammernews.com. Day 3.
Yes. Day 2 for us, day 3 of the event. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight here at the College Football Hall of Fame, right next to the Omni Hotel, right down the street from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and about 2 or 3 miles, well, more than that, probably about 12 or 13 miles away from Tourist Park, where they had the All-Star game last night. We mentioned the Beyonce concert.
Yeah.
My gosh, there's a whole lot of stuff going on around here right now.
You know, certainly don't want to harp on baseball, but how in the world do you end the game in a tie?
Well, they had the home run derby afterwards.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a little bit gimmicky. I didn't love it. But again, great game. A lot of great things about it. We'll talk about it during the show, but you had the Hank Aaron tribute.
I thought that was nice.
Yeah, you had the little orchestrated thing in Atlanta for Dodgers first baseman Freddie Freeman, where they took him out in the middle of an inning so they can give him an ovation and all of that kind of stuff. The stand up to cancer thing, and of course, in the ninth inning, the American League was able to tie it up. They were down 2, scored 2 in the ninth, and then you had your very first home run derby swing off or something like that.
Yeah, that does kind of sound a little gimmicky.
I'm glad. I would think that John would have loved it. I did not.
Yeah.
But it was... It saved a lot of time.
Okay, well, I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of saving time. But I didn't see a lot of it. I did see the Hank Aaron tribute thing. I thought that was kind of neat. But, that's why the Phantom didn't release a Daily Dog yesterday. Because, the game ends in a tie? Really? Come on.
Well, technically it didn't end. The National League did win it. Kyle Schwarber. You get 3 players on you. This is like,
like a shootout in soccer.
Oh, it's like one of those playoffs in golf where you alternate, but you go alternate between, what is it, the 9th and the 18th or something like that until, blah, blah, blah and everything. So you got to pick 3 hitters and you had to pick them ahead of time. And they each got 3 swings and, whoever had the most home runs, and it's batting practice. You had the batting practice pitcher up there, batting practice catcher. And Kyle Schwarber hit 3 home runs in his 3 swings. National League wins.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
So
home team kind of being the Braves.
Yeah. So, and all that. And with everything going on with that, I did note this. You had a lot of pitching changes. You had, again, the in-game removal of Freddie Freeman. You had longer commercial breaks. And it lasted 3 hours and 20 minutes, which John would say, oh, man, good gosh, that's way too long. But believe me, for an American sporting population that had gotten or had been asked to get used to 4-hour games, almost every game, 3 hours and 50 minutes, 4 hours. You had all that going on, and it only lasted 3 hours and 20 minutes. And it would have lasted a lot longer, obviously, if they had not introduced the little gimmicky thing at the very end. Again, I don't love it. I don't love watching a Biscuits game and you got a runner on second base and extra innings to start and all this kind of crap. But hey, it's baseball in this day and age.
They're integrating some ideas that I mentioned, 20, 30 years ago. It was slow, but I'm glad we finally got baseball to speed things up a little bit. Last night was certainly a made-for-TV event.
Now here we are, and again, we set the stage yesterday, College Football Hall of Fame. We're upstairs in the actual College Football Hall of Fame deal. There's old jerseys and helmets and displays all around us. There's artifacts and all of that, but enough about some of the sports hosts out here.
Yeah, really.
Downstairs, right behind us at the bottom floor is the big print media room. And today, the print media room and everybody will be treated to Alabama. They're on the docket in the morning. It'll be Tim Keenan Deontay Lawson and Caden Proctor.
Okay.
That'll represent Alabama. Also in the morning, Mississippi State.
Wow, tough draw.
Head coach Jeff Lebby and three guys that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
This afternoon, it'll be Florida, Billy Napier, along with the guy I think has a chance to be the best quarterback in the SEC, DJ Lagway, a true sophomore. And then Oklahoma this afternoon. Brent Venables, is he on the hot seat?
I think he needs to have a good year.
Yes.
Big year.
Yeah.
I would think.
With the transfer quarterback from Washington State, who's really good. His name is John Mateer. He's going to be there as well. So there is some star power. Ironically, the two teams today out of four with the least sizzle, not to say they're not terrific football players, and Caden Proctor will be a first-rounder, are Mississippi State and Alabama.
Yeah.
It's just the brand that people get excited about around here.
Yeah,
it's Alabama.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, certainly got to bounce back from a year that they didn't make the college football playoff that I think, not only stunned their fan base, but certainly maybe a lot of people in college football. And I think that's the that's the low water mark. They've got to at least make the college football playoff this year. A lot of talk about, how the year two is going to be a lot different from year one. You'll hear Kalen DeBoer talk about that here at Media Days today. Feel like, hey, we got a year under our belt. Everybody's on the same page, all that type stuff. And they do seem to feel pretty confident about the personnel that they have there. We'll see how it plays out, though. Got a testy one in Tallahassee to open the season up.
The testy one in Tallahassee. I think we need to market that.
Yeah.
The testy one in Tallahassee. I do think probably just in deference to what the media would like to see, and the media whom the media would like to talk to, it probably should have brought Ty Simpson but there are two intrinsic things wrong with that. Number one, I don't think they want to go ahead and say this guy's a starting quarterback no matter what.
I'm with you.
And number two, I do think, like Travis Ryer said yesterday, they need to kind of give some homage to the linemen. They got two linemen and a linebacker in today. But with all that being said, I do think that he is the guy, the face of the program right now. If you're not going to bring Ryan Williams, and Williams is young, he's fresh, he's really, really good and everything, but I think Ty Simpson is the guy that.
Well, I look back and I wonder the year Jake Coker was the starting quarterback. I can't recall if he came to Media Days or not.
Can't recall much about Jake Coker except for one word. Natty.
Yeah.
Nobody can look. Oh man, can you believe that play he made against?
He had a big one against Auburn, a big scramble. I remember he threw a long pass, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know if Jake Coker made the rotation, but I hear what you're saying. I mean, yesterday it was all about Arch Manning. Everybody was all over him, and certainly he's going to be the face of the Texas program. And we'll get into yesterday a little bit more here in a moment, but. I get it. We don't really want to let everybody know who our starting quarterback is. We're going to kind of, we're going to kind of play the waiting game a little bit more. We're going to play the waiting game a little bit.
Yeah,
more.
we're going to tease him a little bit.
I think, DeBoer even said it earlier this week, maybe yesterday. If we were playing tomorrow, Ty Simpson would be our starter. Ryan Grubb said something similar during spring. And I certainly expect that to be the case, but I guess they wanted to play out in preseason camp. As Rodney Orr told us last week, he doesn't expect those of the three that are there right now. He only believes one will be there next year, which is, you think about it. Wow, that's a little scary.
Yeah,
but I agree. I think that could certainly be the case.
Yesterday Hugh Freeze was here again. Yesterday it was Auburn, Georgia, along with Tennessee and like John said, Texas late. And I wanted to get some feedback into how people thought Hugh Freeze presented himself, his look, his appearance, and all that. So I went to TighterInsider.com to the message board.
No doubt.
And if there's anybody out there who was happier than Jalen Milroe yesterday about Hugh Freeze being up there, I'd like to know, because that has taken some of the forum attention away from Milroe. Can you believe, man, I can't wait till they see, till the Seahawks see him taking his first snap.
Oh.
Boy, I don't know if it's, Ty Simpson's going to be the guy, but at least it's not Milroe.
Yeah.
And somebody put it on there. They said, man, nobody can hate a former Alabama quarterback like Alabama fans
Barry,
can.
I think hate is too strong of a word.
Oh, my gosh.
But I don't want these people jumping on my bandwagon, because I was beating this drum long ago and everybody was ripping me. What are you talking about? This guy's unbelievable. You blah, blah, blah. Tried to tell everybody about Milroe and his deficiencies, but nobody wanted to hear it. Now, everybody's throwing him under the bus.
Why in the world CKD kept trotting him out every game is totally beyond me.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday,
that too.
They took a little bit of it off of there.
Yeah.
Boy, Freeze doesn't look good to me. Oh, I don't know.
I'm glad you brought that up.
He needs to shave.
He did. I noticed that. He did shave.
Yeah.
No, 3-day stubble. Looked good. Better than I've seen him before. Still in the tie on. He and Lane Kiffin, they don't wear the ties like most of the coaches do, but who cares? But he did look good. But one thing I did pick up on, and there you go. It's a lot of coach speak here. I get it. I mean, we've heard it 1,000 times. But he really likes his roster. Loves his roster.
Yep.
Which to me translates into he feels like he's got some really good personnel. Obviously, he's got a good wide receiver room. Not only the ones that he's got, but he had the number one wide receiver transfer come from Georgia Tech. So that's adding to that room. Obviously, he likes Jackson Arnold a lot.
Yep.
I thought Jackson had some high water pants on yesterday. Man,
that's
the
style, man. You got that's the way it's supposed to look these days. You got to get with the times.
Yeah.
No more Dockers, no more Costco's. You got to appreciate a guy who's on the cutting edge of style. And he says that his golf game is not taken away from his focus. I don't know who asked him that, or how many people asked him that. It's probably in triple figures and all that. But he says, I like our personnel. I don't play too much golf. Our team has embraced the expectations. And he said this. He said, I don't know if you caught it, the coaching staff, some of the leaders on the team took personality tests.
Oh,
in the to help.
I'd like to do that.
Yeah. I don't know how they grade them. I took one when I was in high school. It was the Myers-Briggs test or Briggs-Myers test or something like that when I was in high school, and I did okay on it. But now that I knew it, what does that do for me?
What does it do for you? You got a crappy personality. You got a great personality.
And it wasn't like a number. It was like ACDF or something like that, or BJCD or something like that. They don't grade by the number. Otherwise, Harsin would have graded that as 0 or 1. But personality tests, does that really help?
I wonder what Gus would have graded out as. I never found him over
3, maybe,
with much of a personality.
Out of a scale of 50, maybe 3, something like that.
I will.
So it was some interesting stuff yesterday from Auburn. Will people be hanging on every syllable coming out of Tim Keenan's mouth today?
Who?
Yeah. Possibly not.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I did see Roman Harper yesterday, and I spoke with him a little while. He was actually heading to go play golf yesterday afternoon. And, of course, Barry, I had to ask, is Hugh Freeze part of your group?
Yeah.
That's the only Hugh Freeze golf kind of zinger that I threw. And this was actually in a little one-on-one conversation, so it's not like other people heard it. But I thought, I just got to throw this one out there.
Yeah. Bill from Baltimore said, will John ask Hugh how many strokes he would give John for an 18-hole round? Hugh's pretty good.
Yeah, I think he is.
I want to say he's like a 3.
He's played a lot more golf than I have in the month of June, allegedly.
Yeah, well, you've been busier than he has.
Yeah, really. Good point. But I thought, Hugh did a good job yesterday saying the right things. John Cohen was here yesterday as well, the Auburn athletic director. So, a good PR move, a good, circling the everybody and checking it all out. So I get it. I mean, there again, it's talking season. Everybody's happy. Everybody's, undefeated, and, everything's wonderful and great. But as we've harped on so many times, they got to go to Waco and beat Baylor. They got to split on the road, either at Oklahoma or Texas A&M, and roll the dice against Georgia and Jordan-Hare. But if they can come out of that stretch, I think that's a 5-game stretch, maybe 6-game stretch. If they can come out of there with only one loss and then the remainder of the season, I mean, 9-3 is extremely doable.
It's usually about the time we take a break. We're a little bit more free-flowing on this format, usually about that time. But you need to give us a couple of minutes here before we go to break, John, to let everyone know what we got in store for the next couple of hours, because it's a lot.
Yeah, we really do, Bear. Of course, Alabama comes in today and hoping to grab some of their players when they arrive here at the College Football Hall of Fame. Tony Barnhart, Mr. College Football, he's kind of, take, I want to say a farewell tour, Barry, but he's kind of winding down, and he's writing a book and kind of not, doing as many things as he used to. And he's certainly, hey, good for him. He's been around a long time, and he's going to join us. Peter Burns from the SEC Network will be with us today as well. And John McKnight, he is the coordinator of SEC officials. He's always interesting to chat with, and we'll talk with him. Connor O'Gara, also from Saturday Down South. He'll be sitting there we go.
Yeah.
He'll be sitting in that chair with us here in about an hour and 15 minutes.
So we got a lot to do here, not a whole lot of time to do it. We're underway from SEC Football Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. Right there is Gurren Jr., so we're in good hands. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com. Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information.
Okay, here we are back at it at SEC Football Media Days 2025. Recapping a little bit about what happened yesterday with the Auburn Tigers and Hugh Freeze and Jackson Arnold, who was here. He was, of course, a lot of people very interested about his transfer to Auburn, how he'll take over this Auburn program. I think it was interesting. Jackson Arnold made the comment about it. It didn't take him long to realize, what's the word I should use?
Hatred.
Well, importance.
Oh, yeah.
Obsession.
Obsession is probably the best.
Yeah, of the team across the state.
Well, he said when he first got to Auburn that he was shocked at how much, I think these were his words, at how much Auburn and Alabama hate each other.
Huh.
He said, yeah, Texas and Oklahoma, sure. Oklahoma State, sure. He said, but man, Auburn and Alabama hate each other. He said, I was unprepared for that. He said, it's unlike anything, that I've ever seen. He's right in the middle of it now. He is at the epicenter.
Hatred. I'm disturbed by that, Barry. I really am. Hatred.
You don't know anybody? Has nobody in your life, in your circle, in your experience, ever told you, I hate Auburn? Has that never happened? Come on.
I just don't. I'm sure I've heard it. I don't hear it on a regular basis.
Well, it's not like, somebody shakes your hand and says, hey, John, I hate Auburn. How you doing?
What I hear mostly is just maybe some good-hearted snickering, or can you believe what they're up to, or just kind of a little an amusement. Maybe you can call it arrogant.
Yeah, I don't get good-hearted out of that. Good-hearted doesn't seem to be the appropriate adjective.
It's just kind of like, we got to deal with them again.
He said it was immediate. As soon as he got in there, and I'm not sure he was around a whole lot of Alabama. Most of what he's talking about is Auburn-centric, and I can count on one hand the number of Auburn people in my life that have ever said, I hate Alabama. I can count on one hand, as long as it's got a calculator or my phone on it somewhere where I can add it all up, because it's in the thousands. And good-natured, I'm not sure a lot of it was good-hearted, John. I'm not sure it was, but he's...
When you walk into the meeting room and the first thing you see on the wall is beat Bama, I mean, I can see how he's going, wow, man, they really don't like these people. So, the guy comes in from Oklahoma, he transfers. He's, kind of an outsider coming in, getting into the program. And I just hate the fact that he's inundated with this
negativity.
Yes.
Come on, the negative vibes. That's a shame.
What happened to the lady that called us up many, many years ago? You need to pull for Auburn because it's good for the state when they play Oregon in the national championship.
It's good.
We need more people spreading that kind of message.
You want to talk with John about what's good for the state?
Yeah.
Voting on a lottery, voting
sports
on
wagering,
making sure the windows in our middle schools aren't broken out. That's what's good for the state. Not rooting for them to be successful. No.
Can we add a lane on 65 while we're at it?
And pave his street. Those would be good for the state of Alabama.
Don't give me this. It's good for the state.
So
that's kind of like playing South Alabama and Jackson State. Yeah, okay, right.
Jacksonville State.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, he's already gotten the lip flutter out of the way now that he gets worked up. But for this Auburn team, the Baylor game is everything. It really is. On the road, Baylor's picked to win the Big 12. Phil Steele's got him picked to win the Big 12.
Whoa!
I'm staring at a Baylor jersey right in front of me, and the Robert Griffin deal, and it's you Auburn fans, you got to get the
Barry,
you got to get the fixation of Alabama out of there. You got to, like Robbie from Greenville, you got to start thinking about Baylor.
Yeah, you tell him, Robbie.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of teams in college football with green uniforms.
Should be more. There's not one in the SEC.
I mean, I'm just
there should be. What we need. We need more green. We need more purple. There's no. The SEC is a little bit redundant. You got two sets of teams that are the Tigers.
Yeah.
You got two sets of teams that are the Bulldogs.
Yep.
Everybody's either blue or red or orange, or some combination thereof.
Yep.
Well, there should be more green.
Yeah.
There should be more purple. TCU's distinctive.
I've never really thought about that till I looked at that jersey, that Baylor
That's
jersey,
a good
in the
looking
case
thing.
like that. I thought, man, not a lot of green in college football. Baylor unique in that.
Need more purple helmets.
So,
need more gold helmets.
I guess I've given my full opinion and report on what I saw out of Auburn yesterday. Hugh Freeze, cleanly shaven.
If Freeze has set the bar by being clean shaven for the first time in recent memory, then Kalen DeBoer needs to set the bar and not come out in a cut sleeve hoodie. Which he won't. I'm being
he'll have a coat tie on today. At least
and a tie.
last year. Yeah,
a tie.
He did last year. So I expect him to have a coat tie on
All right.
today.
Okay.
He's representing a lot. And now, as far as the hoodie and the whatever you call those things,
Yeah, the cut sleeves or whatever.
nah, we got to get away from that.
Yeah.
But I'm not real thrilled about the stash that Jackson Arnold's wearing. But hey, Alabama had a basketball player with one, so if it works for you, go for it. I will say this: the Arch Manning bonanza and fanfare and everything. I listened to one of his interviews. He comes across to me as a guy that's confident, not cocky. He comes across a guy that's gracious and really didn't give the impression that, come on, let's go. I really don't want to be here. Quit asking. I didn't get that at all. I think he was raw in some moments talking about his football career.
Yeah.
But he certainly seems driven, determined. He's got a plan. It looks to have played out like he wanted it to play out since he arrived at Texas. He talked about why he went to school at UT. The media certainly gravitated toward him. And I said it yesterday, or maybe the day before, if they go to Columbus and they beat Ohio State, the Arch Manning
you fill out a paper bracket for all SEC, which we never do.
Yep.
They put it on email, so you get to save some. But I'm telling you, I will be nauseated if Arch Manning is first team preseason quarterback. He's got a chance, I mean, who else? Chances are there will be a first year SEC guy, John Mateer. I like him very much. Heck, there's transfer quarter. But Arch Manning. First, please don't do that.
Barry, that's I didn't thought about that.
I would be.
And when we asked Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South when he joins us, we're going to ask him that. That's a lot of quarterbacks here, Barry.
It's coming up.
And will Arch Manning be the preseason first teamer?
We'll find out. Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South, coming up in just a moment. Live from SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame, it's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders. Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
At Dixie Overhead Door, we specialize in top-quality garage door solutions for homes across Alabama and Georgia. In need of a garage door repair or a brand new garage door installation, our expert team delivers fast, reliable service with local expertise that you can trust, providing customized solutions and exceptional care every step of the way. Visit us today at DixieOverheadDoor.com and experience the Dixie difference.
Okay, back at it here at SEC Football Media Days 2025. It is day 3, and our friend Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South, been with us so many times. Connor, always good to see you, my friend. Thanks for stopping by.
Good to be here, gentlemen. Day 3, are we still feeling like we've got full energy? Is this the point where we're kind of like, oh, this is the back end of it, or are we good to go?
Yeah, this is why we have off-season conditioning here.
Yeah,
exactly. We always want to have something in the tank afterwards. First of all, this is you and John were talking before we went on the air, Saturday Down South. We've had you on now for years. The evolution and the growth and the expansion of that little enterprise has been impressive.
Thank you very much. Yeah, been in business since 2010, but some of the things that we're trying to do in this day and age to keep up with the times is certainly been a big part of my responsibilities over the course of the last year, and getting stuff out there on the podcast and what we do with the Saturday Down South podcast, just trying to make sure that we're, keeping up with everything that's going on in this crazy world. But yeah, it is an adapt or die business. And I'd like to think that our team cranks out the most amount of content, at least in terms of an efficiency standpoint, because I tell people all the time, we don't have like 30 writers. We're not sitting there, with 30 people that are doing, news stories. Our news team just absolutely crushes it. I try and, give max effort every single time I'm at SEC Media Days. So yeah, I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, great stuff. I enjoy it. Have for many, many years. You're right. You crank out the content, Connor. I mean, you guys there at Saturday Down South, my go-to.
Appreciate that.
You got to go to it.
Appreciate that.
So we started things off earlier in the week. You kind of get lost because of who all's been here since the opener. But I guess the biggest bombshell so far was Greg McElroy saying that Nick Saban was going to get back into the coaching world.
That he had heard from someone credible that Nick Saban could get back into coaching. And look, when I first heard that, I don't know about you guys, maybe you guys differ on this. I didn't think power conference job that's what he would be signing up for. And if you had said in 2016 to someone, hey, I think Steve Spurrier is going to get back into coaching. I know he quit on South Carolina in the middle of the 2015 season, but I think he's going to get back into coaching. You would have been right, because he coached the Orlando Apollos in 2019. People forget that. So what does it mean to get back into coaching? Well, I would definitely think that if those opportunities were ever pursued by Nick Saban, which let's give it a greater than 0% chance, because I don't think McElroy makes this stuff up. I really don't. The NFL would make so much more sense in every single way. Just not having to deal with NIL and the revenue sharing. And, he's got to have a general manager that, like, at the college level, that's dealing with all these different things in ways that, NFL GMs they've already been programmed to deal with, and they're not having to learn on the fly in the same way that you are in college. So I don't think it'll happen. But I'll tell you what, it gave us a whole lot of content the first day.
No question.
The Orlando Apollo.
Hey, I got the pennant in my office.
Look, I was at that first game, and I remembered watching. It was Garrett Gilbert, a quarterback, the former Texas quarterback. Yeah. And I remember thinking, head ball coach, he can still dial it up.
Yeah.
He can still dial it up, man.
The game has not passed him by.
Yep.
So let's approach this chronologically. We talked about that on the first day. Also on the first day, kind of the crosshairs were on Brian Kelly at LSU. Yep. The fans are collectively tapping their watches on this guy. Has he got a chance to really insinuate himself into the playoff conversation?
I'll do you one better. I think LSU wins a national championship this year.
Wow.
Whoa. Yeah.
18-1 odds. If you're trying to figure out in this era of college football, where are the places that we need to follow to try and forecast?
Sure.
When's a team going to be able to win a national championship? Follow the money. Follow the money. The sense of urgency that program had the second that Garrett Nussmeier announced he was coming back to school, and by the way, that Bryce Underwood announced he wasn't coming to LSU, he was going to Michigan. the sense of urgency that you saw in the transfer portal, it was different, guys. Like it was so much different than what Brian Kelly did in the portal last year. And he addressed so many key areas on that roster, specifically defensively, getting help as well for Garrett Nussmeier at the receiver positions. I love the addition of Nick Anderson, who's going to become a household name in the SEC. Barryon Brown, who is just a stick of dynamite. And the fact that Aaron Anderson is coming back as one of the most underrated receivers in college football. I'm all in on LSU. I'm all in at a time in which it doesn't look like we have that clear, bona fide top dog juggernaut in the SEC. Why not LSU?
Yeah, I've got LSU making the playoff, Connor. I like them as well. They open up at Clemson. If they take a bump in the road there, I think the remainder of their schedule sets up really good for them. I mean, even if they finish, say 10-2, I still think they make the playoff, and heck, it's a whole new season when that happens.
Just like Ohio State last year. I mean, 10-2 in this day and age is just so much different than what it was in years past. And if LSU can be that team that all of a sudden we're like, wait a minute, I thought Brian Kelly could win the big time game. Brian Kelly's 3-4 against AP top 10 teams during his time at LSU. What was the knock on Ryan Day last year? He can't win the big one. He can't win the big one.
Right.
Ryan Day was 5-5 against AP top 10 teams in his 3 previous seasons at Ohio State, and that was the conversation about him. So what does it really mean anymore if you're the coach that can't win the big time game? Well, it means you're one season away.
Yeah, you can't win the big game until you do.
Yeah, and look, that's different than James Franklin, who's 4-20 against AP top 10 teams during his time at Penn State. So you can miss me with that. The Penn State way too early love. Like, I don't need to get on that soapbox, but I don't really want to hear about how James Franklin, he's right there. He's right there. No. 4-20 against AP top 10 teams with your current team is different than Brian Kelly being 3-4 against AP top 10 teams at LSU.
All right, let me ask you about LSU's opener. I mean, what about Clemson? A lot of people are saying they're a national championship contender.
They are. And I say that even though Clemson went 0-3 against SEC competition last year, Clemson returns a team that, my God, it's pretty amazing to think about the roster that Dabo Swinney now has, even though he's had this resistance to the transfer portal and not resistance to NIL. Like, they were the first to build an NIL exclusive facility. Like, people don't give them credit for that. But I think that Clemson, with this roster, number 1 in the country in Bill Connolly's percentage of returning production, has the ability to compete for a national championship. Now, the questions I have are more so on the defensive side of the ball where, they have some studs up front on that defensive line. They couldn't stop the run to save their lives last year. Is Tom Allen going to come in there and fix that immediately? Because I think he might have had some more pieces to work with against the run at Penn State than what he's going to inherit at Clemson. But, it is a team that has the most favorable path to the playoff of anybody, you could argue. And especially if they win that first one against LSU, you're like, man, what would Clemson have to do to not make the college football playoff?
Well, yesterday, Kirby Smart, who kind of is the guy to assume the gravitas vacated by Nick Saban as the big dog in the SEC, doesn't really feel like it, though, even though he's the only standing SEC coach to have won a national championship. What about Georgia? What's going to be key for them?
If Gunnar Stockton can be Stetson Bennett V, that's the key. I mean, that's the key. Look, we can sit here and debate, why the run fits were such a mess last year, why they're letting up 2 bills on the ground to UMass for crying out loud, and what is this Georgia team? It was a weird season, just a weird season in every possible way. But if Gunnar Stockton is a dude, and if he is the guy that Georgia has been hyping him up to be, that changes everything. It just does, because you brought in talent at the wide receiver position. Ideally, you don't lead the country in drops for a second consecutive year. Zachariah Branch can be the guy that he was as a true freshman at USC. Noah Thomas can come in after a really solid start to his career at Texas A&M and be that outside guy that's going to win 50-50 balls, that's going to win those contested catch battles that they really didn't have last year. Dylan Bell was the only guy that could get a contested catch for that team. So Georgia had issues, most notably on the offensive line as well last year. They need to figure that out. That's a huge if. There's just not a guarantee in this day and age that they're going to be able to figure it out. But this is kind of the preamble that Kirby Smart wants. And not being the preseason number 1 team, which, by the way, 19 of the last 20 preseason number 1 teams failed to win a national championship, including Georgia the last 2 years. That is something that maybe could set the wheels in motion for Georgia.
Are you buying what Hugh Freeze is selling?
Let me say it for you in Spanish. No. No, with a capital N. I'm not. And
with an upside down apostrophe at the beginning and a right side up apostrophe behind it.
Yeah. Yes. Give me a hard no on that one. And I asked him about yesterday in the main media area about if he was sick of having to defend his golf game. And he kind of brushed it off because what choice does he have at this point? He's got a recruiting class that's sitting there in the 80s, and he's posting his golf scores. And the optics of that, even if they aren't really impacting, even if those things are totally independent, the optics are bad. You're at a program that's had 4 consecutive losing seasons. You've only been a part of 2 of those, but these are not good times at Auburn. And you can tell me about, we're right there. You're 2-6 in 1-score games since you've arrived on the Plains. You've got a program that is in total disarray when it comes to actually being able to evaluate the quarterback position. And that's not just a Hugh Freeze situation. That obviously goes back to Gus Malzahn. And at the game's most important position, if you're not going to be even solid, I'm sorry, you're only going to go so far. And I'm not convinced Jackson Arnold is going to step in and be solid. He's got a huge learning curve and a lot of things to figure out, even though he's got a really talented receiver room. So to answer your question, no, I am not buying what I almost said Brian Harsin. I'm definitely not buying what Brian Harsin is selling.
Believe me,
the Cal offense, no thank you.
Yeah.
But I am not buying what Hugh Freeze is selling.
Brian Harsin's name has been brought up as an excuse as to why they haven't
Sure.
produced very
And
well.
Gus Malzahn.
Yeah.
If you look at the if you look at the way Auburn has progressed, they have made progress, right? I mean, you're not forecasting 2-10, right?
No. And I'm not jaded at all after picking them to go 8-4 last year. I'm not jaded. No. There will be progress. Their defense showed real signs of life. They had underclassmen playing big-time roles last year in that defense, and they were good. I mean, Keldrick Fall could be their first rounder in 5 years. Like they have these guys that you look at and go, man, sign me up for Cam Coleman. Sign me up for Eric Singleton. Like this is a team that has talent, and they were top 25 in the country in yards per play on both offense and defense last year. Those teams don't go 5-7. They go 5-7 because they have a head coach that's mismanaging things. They have a head coach that doesn't understand the quarterback position. They have a head coach who doesn't understand that with a backup kicker who's never made a kick longer than 32 yards, that you shouldn't send him out there for field goals that are longer than 40 and 50 yards. What are you doing? I mean, no offense to Towns Magoo. He shouldn't be attempting a 52-yard field goal. I'm sorry, but until we see these things from Hugh Freeze late in games, get mad at Jarquez Hunter over a halfback pass that would have been picked off the other way if he had thrown it the way Hugh Freeze wanted. I'm on a soapbox here. Because,
keep
it
going.
Bothers me.
Yeah, no, keep
going.
Keep going.
He just threw so many people under the bus last year, and there was a lack of accountability that really bothered me. And I think that each of the last 2 years, I bought what Hugh Freeze was selling.
Yep.
I bought what he said at SEC Media Days year 1, the accountability. Hey, I'm not one of the elite play callers in this sport anymore. I think I need to focus big picture. Last year I'm taking control of the offense. I feel like I really need to buy into this and kind of be what I was, in my days in the SEC at Ole Miss. Not buying it this year.
Anything else?
we can pound the table.
I've mentioned Gus Malzahn. Before we get to Alabama, obviously their opening day opponent down in Tallahassee.
Speaking of things I'm not buying.
Yeah, okay, good. I want to get to that too. How big of a difference is Gus Malzahn going to make to this Florida State team, this Florida State offense?
I don't think a big one. I really don't. Thomas Castellanos, maybe the most confident quarterback in America, not named Diego Pavia. Should he be, though?
Yeah.
That's Boston College fans would tell you no, he should not be. I am amazed that Mike Norvell turned to Gus Malzahn to be his savior. I'm blown away. And look, I live in Orlando.
Yeah.
I experience UCF football, not in the way that the diehards do. UCF football, it is Twitter Beetlejuice. If you put UCF on social media, the way that they react to tweets and stuff, it's kind of ridiculous. But Gus Malzahn wasn't it. He wasn't it. And his days as an elite offensive mind in this sport are long gone. I mean, long gone. So could they be a 6-6 team? Sure. Are they going to sniff what they were 2 years ago? Absolutely not. There's no way. There's no way that they have a guy who figures things out the way that they absolutely need him to. And this is not going to be some overnight transformation on the offensive side of the ball. And overnight transformation is going to happen in college football. I'm not banking on Gus Malzahn leading one.
Are you banking on Alabama?
I'm banking on Bama to be a playoff team this year. And I don't think I would have said that if not for the Ryan Grubb, Kalen DeBoer reunion.
People have been that has been the sizzle of the offseason right there. That's the expectations are high with that partnership.
Can you think of how we'd be talking about Bama guys if that didn't happen? How we'd be talking about this offense if that move didn't happen, and if it was up to Kalen DeBoer to figure out a quarterback room with 0 career starts, that had, I guess 2 guys that he recruited and 1 guy that he didn't recruit, what would be those conversations? They would be a whole lot different than what they are. But you bring in Ryan Grubb, who has been the troubleshooter, the right-hand man for Kalen DeBoer, and you get a sense that there will be more order in that offense, and the floor should be so much higher. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the halftime adjustments will be night and day, but I think troubleshooting within a game is such an important thing. We saw last year with these games when they lost to inferior competition about how much that really hurt that Bama team. I think they needed Ryan Grubb badly, and I think that makes a difference and gets them over the hump, gets them to the playoff.
Yeah, a lot of excitement about Grubb joining this staff. There's also a lot of excitement about what's been going on in recruiting. Of course, Bama fans, they're all excited and geeked up and all these 5-star commitments. In the day and age of football, which we're living in, there still seems to be a lot of uncertainty about players and about payment and about revenue share, all this type of stuff. Connor, we all follow it every day. We're heard a lot about it. We're hearing a lot about it. I'm not hearing any solutions, any finality to it.
Yeah, why would you?
Yeah.
What people have answers? What do you mean? If it were that easy, people that have millions and millions of dollars at stake would have figured this out a long time ago, probably. But no, it's not. And the recruiting aspect, we'll wait and see if the Auburn mindset wins out. If what John Cohen has said proves to be prophetic.
Are you buying that?
I'll say it for you in Spanish again. No. I am not. I am never going to listen to the one person in the room that says, I'm doing this right and all of you are doing this wrong. Yeah. That's never good. That kid at the playground is never right. Yeah. I don't expect John Cohen to be the first person to be right in that scenario. Look, you had better clean up. Like, if you're going to come out with that sort of strategy, I'm not talking like, oh, you better finish with a top 20 class. No. You need like a legit top 10 class, and you need to start getting 5 stars in there that you had a couple of years ago, and that's been your ground that you've been standing on, and that's good, and you've built up that equity. Mm-hmm. But, buddy, it had better start happening. It better start happening fast once those contracts get into play.
Are we putting too much, we collectively, the media, on Arch Manning right now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But I'll say this. If you are anti-Arch, you're probably like the way that you were with Tebow, where you're anti-Tebow conversation. And I think that's okay.
I think you're exactly right.
I think those can be 2 very different things. Now, I'll say this. I have Arch as my number 4 quarterback in the SEC coming back. And I debated whether or not I should put Diego Pavia, an all-SEC quarterback last year, ahead of him in those early rankings. And I'll be interested to see if Diego Pavia is a preseason all-SEC quarterback. My co-host, Will Ogren, and I were talking about this. He was like, has there ever been a guy who earned all SEC honors as a quarterback who wasn't preseason all SEC next year? And would Diego Pavia be it? I don't know. I can't give you an example of that. But yeah, the Arch Manning conversation is fascinating because he has not given us reason to believe that he's not worth the hype. And so that's part of it. His game does not have limitations. The ability to attack downfield, the ability to use his legs, his size is noticeable in person when you see him as opposed to like kind of just on TV. And I do think that there is just this feeling that after what Texas experienced last year with Quinn Ewers' limitations, the torn oblique, that he can just do everything in a Steve Sarkisian offense. And that's what makes people so excited. I don't think it's going to be perfect from start to finish. He's got to learn how to sense backside pressure. He's got 4 new starters on that offensive line. He's got a couple of new receivers to work in. But is he going to be really fun to watch, and is he going to be an awesome quarterback? Yes, I absolutely think so.
If they go to Columbus and he puts on a show, watch out. It'll just be the Arch Manning
against that defense too. Yeah, that would be. I would look for like the amount of times we would see Matt Patricia just gnawing on a pencil in the middle of that game would be incredible.
You mentioned Penn State, Clemson. We just touched on Ohio State. Is there another team outside of the SEC that maybe is under the radar we need to keep an eye out on?
Illinois is not a team that's under the radar really anymore because it feels like everybody's saying they're the under the radar team. And if you're getting that kind of buzz, I don't really think that's a fair conversation to have. I think that there is a growing sense, and I just talked about how follow the money in this day and age. Mm-hmm. Who's got more money than Texas Tech right now? Cody Campbell, the things that he has done to revamp that program, specifically in the trenches, which is his area of expertise, in a very winnable, all over the place Big 12. That's the thing I'm so interested to see this year. How that transformation works in a place that has had elite minds on the offensive side of the ball in the
Mm-hmm.
21st century. That's no secret. But to put it all together at this time, right now, at this important juncture, it's one of the most interesting topics in all of college football. And it's maybe not necessarily under the radar, but it's one of these things that I know when I'm flipping on my YouTube multi-view and I'm trying to watch 4 games at once on a given Saturday, I'm going to be tuning into Texas Tech, and I want to see exactly what they're doing with this team.
Well, this is not only the reason they're interesting to watch this year, but it'll be an example in the future. They're pushing all their chips into the table right now, and if they can pull this off, there's copycats all over the place. That's going to be the focus for everybody if you follow if the money is there.
It is. And to actually answer your question, I do think that there is a post-hype version of Ole Miss that fascinates me.
Mm-hmm.
What if Austin Simmons, who is admittedly Tua Tagovailoa's twin, like they look exactly alike. I mean, he was literally growing out his hair to not look like Tua.
Yeah.
He admitted he was doing that. And I asked him, I'm like, you look just like him, right? I mean, he wears number 13. He's
left-handed.
There's do a DNA test in here. Come on, let's figure this out. But Austin Simmons in that offense with Caden Lee, with a ground game that should be better, that can't be as bad as it was last year, and a defense that lost so much production, but does return a preseason All-American in Suntaran Perkins, does have one of the more respected defensive minds in the sport in Pete Golding, who I know Alabama fans might not respect him as much, but they were an elite defense last year, and Pete Golding put it all together. So I just kind of wonder, with a very favorable schedule and no buzz whatsoever, if Ole Miss is that under-the-radar team that we're looking up in late November and going, wait a minute, guys, they still have a path to the playoff.
All right, here's my way left field statement I made in the middle of the summer. You come up with crazy stuff like this.
Oh, trust me, I'm all about it.
So if things don't go well in Oxford, they, don't make the playoff, or Lane has a Kentucky game like he had last year, and, just think, and he looks at himself and goes, I just can't win here in Oxford. I've been here, 4, 5, 6 years. I got Bama, Texas, all these other teams. I just can't do it here. Things don't go well in L.A., does he go back to Southern Cal? Does he
I'm glad to have that.
Can you not go back home?
You can go back home. Ask Scott Frost. Ask Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Ask Nick Saban when he takes Kalen DeBoer's job next year.
Only person ever do it was Bill Snyder, and that was a special case.
Look,
I know it's out there, but
I am glad for that reaction, even if it was in English.
Here's the problem. Look, and Matt Hayes has written about this for USA Today. But it is an under-the-radar storyline that we should probably be talking about more. USC can fire Lincoln Riley with cause and avoid the buyout because he committed an NCAA violation with the analyst program before the analyst became open season and everybody could have these analysts. And this was announced last year, and it was one of those mid-season stories that just in the heat of a playoff chase, you just kind of forget about. It's one to file away. And it's one to keep in mind. And I don't know that USC would pursue this. And I guarantee you, if that ever happened, Lincoln Riley would pursue legal action because he'd be like, hey, if you really wanted to fire me with cause, you would have done this after we were put on probation in 2023. But instead, that didn't prove to be the case. But it's something to just kind of keep in the back of your mind, because that contract is, I'll say this in Spanish for you guys, basura. That's trash for the fine folks.
Okay, so all right. I'm not going to bring up Lane Kiffin anymore. Going back to Southern
but
Cal.
Bringing up Lincoln Riley with his contract situation is very interesting, and I am here for that.
Okay,
always appreciate your time.
How can our viewers and listeners find out more about what you got going on? I know you're everywhere.
Appreciate that. Yeah, SaturdayDownSouth.com. I always tell people you don't want to be working. You don't want to be working. You just want to spend an afternoon being able to read college football stories. We are the place to do that. I always tell people just bookmark it, make it part of your morning routine, your afternoon wasting time at work routine, whatever it may be. Do that. Subscribe to the Saturday Down South podcast. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe there as well. Saturday Down South on YouTube.
Listen to it before. How often is the podcast out?
We're one a week right now. We are 2 a week during media days. We're going to be going back to 2 a week once fall camp starts in August. So very, very soon.
It is not only great information, well produced as well. You do a good job with
Appreciate that.
Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South, joins us here from SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information.
At Dixie Overhead Door, we specialize in top-quality garage door solutions for homes across Alabama and Georgia. In need of a garage door repair or a brand new garage door installation, our expert team delivers fast, reliable service with local expertise that you can trust, providing customized solutions and exceptional care every step of the way. Visit us today at DixieOverheadDoor.com and experience the Dixie difference.
Call Dixie and it's done.
Hey, we changed shirts. Hey, Bob, Mike Roach. What do you know?
Well, Radio Row was nothing like this. Let's put it that way. It starts there, and it's grown and grown and grown, but yeah, it's more people now. We got 1,000 of our closest friends that are here this week. Oh, well, that's right. You're taping. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Just give me a thumb up. All right, in 3, 2, 1. Okay, joining us now here at SEC Football Media Days 25 is Mr. College Football, Tony Barnhart. Tony, I think you've been to a few of these in your day.
Everyone, John, except I came in 1989 was my first one. I missed last year because I couldn't make it to Dallas. I was under the weather. But it's exciting. It's great to be back, and the energy that is generated by SEC football gets bigger and bigger every year.
What was the first one like? What was 1989 like at SEC Media Days, and how does it compare to now?
Well, I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday, so I'm not sure I could get. All I know is in terms of scope, how big it is. That we've got a menu like a venue like the College Football Hall of Fame. I think we've got over 1,000 media people of all stripes. For here, and it's just how the size of which the passion for SEC football has always been there, but the scope of this thing is incredible.
Tony, do you like the direction college football is going?
Yeah, because I know we're going to get there. We're not where we need to be. There's certain things that have got to happen. We've got to get a handle on the transfer portal. We've got to get a handle on NIL, how that's going to work. But here's the irony about all of this. Is that with everything that's going on in college football and the stuff we don't like, the game on the field that we see every Saturday is better than it's ever been. It is an incredible game. There are more talented players, more good coaches, on. And so we just got to get the administrative part of the game caught up with the quality of the game itself. And we'll get there. It's just not a whole lot of fun going through it.
We look and we see how strong the league has been lately, but John came up with this nugget himself. Only one coach in attendance in this 4-day event has a national championship and that's Kirby Smart. I had not thought of it in that context.
SEC's in a real interesting place right now because last year, guys, there were a lot of really good teams in the SEC, but it wasn't in my mind, there wasn't a great team.
I think it's the same thing this year. There's going to be a lot of really good teams in there. Is there one that could win the national championship? Sure, absolutely. But the parity has really kicked in, and we can thank our friends at the transfer portal for that.
Yeah, boy, no kidding. In our neck of the woods, Tony, there's a little pressure on Hugh Freeze. Auburn fans want him to win. It's year 3. He seems to be very pleased with his roster. I think he's more comfortable with this team in year 3 than his prior 2.
Well, and you guys know Coach Freeze as well as anybody. When he's in his private moments, he'll tell you when he got the job, there was a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of work to be done. It was, I had people tell me this is at least a 3 or 4 year building project. And if that's the case, he's right on schedule. Is Jackson Arnold going to be the quarterback that gives Hugh Freeze what he wants at that position? He's got a tremendous track record of coaching quarterbacks. And so I think they're going to be better, but you just don't know because there's so many good teams in this league.
There's a different context to an Auburn rebuilding year or an Auburn bounce back year than it is for some of the Alabama viewers and listeners that we've got. They want a bounce back year from Kalen DeBoer. It's a little bit of a bounce back from 9 wins. The expectations are higher than that for them. What should we expect from Alabama?
Here's what I said this before the season started last year, guys. I said Alabama's got to make the playoffs. And why is this? Because Alabama's, their fans, God love them, if there are 12 teams that are going to the postseason and we're not one of the 12, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So that is there. It was a very up and down season for them. I'm anxious to see how they're going to play when they go to Tallahassee on the 30th of August, because Tallahassee's got their backs to the wall big time. Mike Norvell does. And so I think Alabama's going to bounce back. I was told the fact that he's got his offensive coordinator is back with Ryan Grubb. I was on campus not long ago. I said, is this a big deal, Ryan Grubb being reunited with Kalen DeBoer? He said, it's a really big deal. So I think they've got to have a chance. They've had a chance for a good season. Got to go to Athens.
Yes.
And the schedule flips. And so we'll see.
You know, that offensive coordinator down in Tallahassee, when he was a head coach at Auburn, he gave Alabama fits.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And I think the thing about Gus, and you and I, all of us, we've covered over the years as Gus calling plays. Oh, I'm really giving up the play. I'm really going to do it this time.
Yeah.
On and on. The man knows how to call plays. He's always been good at that. And I think that was a great pickup for Mike Norvell and his staff, that Gus is willing to get back in it and do it that way.
Trying to decide what perspective to give about Arch Manning, who will be here from the University of Texas. I'm trying to get some perspective on the University of Texas themselves. Are we expecting too much from Arch Manning? Is he capable of meeting expectations?
First of all, are we expecting too much? Absolutely. We always expect too much. But think about this guy, Arch Manning. Think about, all right, he's got to uphold the family business. All right, that's number one. Then he's got to be a Heisman Trophy contender, because people have already said he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. He's got to lead Texas to a national championship. So really no pressure on our. But think about it is, when you grow up in the family business the way that he has, it's not going to bother him at all. He understands what the deal is. He's got people have his ear. So I think he's going to be a great player. We're old enough to have seen Archie play in person.
Yes.
All right. Archie Manning was one of the great athletes that has ever played in the Southeastern Conference. I saw him play in Athens in 1970. Just a phenomenal athlete. And I think Arch the younger is going to be just like his granddaddy.
And opening up the season in Columbus, Ohio. What a way to jump into the
I got
season.
to mention that. The defending national champions, he's supposed to go up there and win that game.
Yeah.
So
before we get into know some things that are very close to you that we want you to tell our audience about, Tony, do you ever see what I've dubbed a big boy conference? Are the Big Ten and the SEC going to come together to form a super conference one day down the line?
Well, they can't seem to agree on anything right now. They have their little feud. I think it could happen. I think their forces aligned to try to keep it, but it's almost like an inevitability that it's going to happen. But I just don't like the idea of one super league. Like the NFL. I hope we don't do that, because sometimes you lose too much, but we will see. It's going to be an incredible story to watch over the next few years.
Tony's been so busy for so many years with his newspaper work, his television work. I've got a couple of your books, including Southern Fried Football. There's a new, I say new, it's one that you put out called The 19 of Greene County Football.
Right.
Which is different. I think it's different from most of it. It would surprise people about the depth of this one. This is not necessarily just a football book.
No, this is about the fact my senior year in high school, Greene County High School in Greensboro, Georgia, out in the Lake Oconee area. In the fall of 1970, we had an all-white school and an all-black school. And in the fall of 1970, those schools merged, and so we had our first integrated football team. And it's a story about the fact that the relationships that were built, we all got it. We still stay in touch. We had the reason that the title is the 19 of Greene is we only had 19 players, 12 white, 7 black. And I was able to track down all of the guys who were still, there were 15 of us still alive. I tracked everybody down and wrote about their experiences. And so it's a book about not only about our football dreams. We won 7 out of our last 8 games after starting 0-2, but it's just been one of my very, very best friends is Charles Turner, the black quarterback who played on that team, who was one of our great leaders. He and I stay in touch. We talk at least once a month. When we have homecoming, we always get together, and we had a book signing with all of our living players in December of last year. And all those guys came back, and the community turned out, and it was incredible. But it's the 19 of Greene published by the University of Georgia Press, and we're real happy about it. They're so happy we're going to do another book next year. So
hey, there we go. That sounds good.
I understand Mr. College Football 50 years of SEC memories. You got something in the works there too.
I'm going to spend this season, guys, going back to campuses in the SEC. First to say thank you for everything you've meant to me in my life and career. And together, I got memories of every school in the league, but I'm going to be gathering some more memories. When the season is over, I'm going to hunker down and finish out the book. Hope to have that done around April, something like that, and get the book out later on in 2026. But this is a book that I've always wanted to write. I've been so fortunate to have so many great memories, and you guys know about December 2nd, 1989, and that is my number one memory, and this is being there for that day. The most emotional day I've ever seen on a football field.
Tony, I was at that game as well.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm an Alabama graduate. My wife and their family, the biggest Auburn people I know. And I'm sitting right there amongst them. I've never felt more energy in a football stadium, ever. I've been to a lot of great games since that time, but the energy and the magnitude of the noise and just the spirit, it was unmatched.
Well, what I will never forget, the Tiger Walk, walking down from Sewell Hall to the stadium, and I sort of followed the players along, and to see grown men crying because they thought, and as David Housel, my dear, dear friend, said, they never thought they'd see this in their lifetime, and the fact that it did happen and they were there for it was incredibly emotional experience that got topped off by beating Alabama and knocking them out of the chance for the national championship. It doesn't get much better than that if you're Auburn.
I can't imagine. One other thing as we look back just a little bit, everything that you have seen and experienced and contributed to journalism and sports media and everything that you've done and all the different, how does all of that, if you look back on your career, not that it's over, but if you look back on your career to this point, how does that compare to the dreams of that kid in Greensboro, Georgia, growing up?
Well, I am so lucky in the sense that I got to do everything I wanted to do. You know, I knew that newspapers would always be my home base, but at some point I was going to transition to radio and television. I got a chance to work for ESPN, CBS, and the SEC Network. I got to spend long stints with them and learned a whole lot. So I'm really lucky, and no, I never could have dreamed growing up, because when you grow up in a town of 1,500 people in rural Georgia, you don't know if your dreams are realistic. And I had teachers and people who loved me who said, you can do whatever you want to do. My English teacher, who was my early editor, read some of my stuff. And she said, well, Tony, if you work at it, you could make a living being a writer. I said, yeah, but Ms. Ward, the operative word there is work. Okay. And so, and my dear Mrs. Ward is still with us. She came to our book signing on campus at Greene County High School, and I love her dearly.
How about that?
Tony, I know you're very involved with the Dodd Trophy. Tell us about it.
Well, the Dodd Trophy, guys, I've been fortunate to be on the Bobby Dodd Board of Directors for the Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year Award, the Dodd Trophy. Been with them for 15 years. And the Dodd Trophy is a national coach of the year. There are a lot of great coaches of the year, a lot of great coaches of the year trophies. The Dodd Trophy is different in this regard. It's not about just winning and winning losses. That's very important. But it's also about community service. It's also about academics. What do your players do from a community service standpoint? What does the head coach do from a community standpoint? And how are they doing academically? And I'll give you an example. This past season, there were a lot of great candidates for Coach of the Year. We chose Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame, not only for what he had done on the field, for what he has done in his community and the program that he has built there. And and we do the awards presentation. We don't do it at our banquet. We go to their campus and present the award there. And so we had a delegation of the Bobby Dodd Trophy Award to go to Notre Dame and present the award to him in person, and that was really neat. So I'm very pleased to be with you guys to tell you about it because I'm proud to have my name associated with it.
I can imagine so. That's fantastic.
Tony Barnhart, great to have you with us. As always, you've been so gracious to come and visit with us every year and correspond. Thanks so much.
Absolutely, guys. It's always good to be with you. And guys, I'm not going away.
No,
okay?
No. This is not the,
I may hang out you may see me at a media day in the future. But
outstanding.
This is the chance. Like, as you guys know, the media is in flux. Okay.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to, in a situation where you can sort of write your own exit strategy, and that's what after consulting with my wife for a lot of years, this was the best thing for us, and I'm excited about it.
Good for you. You deserve it.
Absolutely.
Mr. College Football.
Thank you, guys.
Tony Barnhart joining us here today from SEC Football Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame.
It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Now, through July 31st, take advantage of the Quadruple Zero event at Stivers Ford in Montgomery. 0% APR for up to 48 months. 0 down payment. 0 payments for 90 days. And 0 cost for maintenance for 2 years or 24,000 miles. The Quadruple Zero event offer is available on select 24 and 25 model F-150s, Explorers, Expeditions, Broncos, Mustangs, and Escapes. Stop by Stivers Ford at 4000 Eastern Boulevard in Montgomery for more information. Stivers Ford, where Price sells cars and trucks.
On the basketball court, the soccer pitch, or even the golf course, your crew brings their best not just for the win, but for that post-game celebration. When victory tastes like Michelob Ultra, it's worth every drop of sweat. And if you don't win, you'll still get the beer. It's just on you. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. Their licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
He's got Alabama as a playoff team, and he's got LSU winning the national championship. I'm a big I never have particularly loved LSU. I don't want to mean to say, but I have been a believer that LSU is going to make that move. They're going to be someone to be reckoned with as well. And he brought up several of the names, and I mean, talent's never been a problem at LSU.
Yeah, no kidding.
And they may have more talent than they've had, even some of the Jaden Daniels teams that they've had. But yeah, he's one of the things that I think is impressive about Connor is a lot of the trends and a lot of the history and a lot of the observations he can call up at the top of his head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He brings up, and I had forgotten about this, that halfback pass that Jarquez Hunter threw that somebody called, and the head coach okayed.
Yes, he did.
And if he had he's exactly right. If Jarquez, number one, I was on the spot for one. I mean, come on, what are you doing? It was a bad call from the beginning, but then he's yelling at Jarquez because he threw it poorly, when if he had thrown it correctly, it would have been a pick six the other way. So, I mean, he didn't mean to throw it badly, but, I'm glad he did.
And then the field goal attempts, I'd forgotten about those.
The Towns-Magoo things. Towns-Magoo, again, he's an Auburn High kid, love Auburn High, but he goes maybe $125.
Yeah.
Not
a big guy.
And, to call on him to kick a 50-yarder when your chances are a lot better just going for it.
Yep.
And then throwing him under the bus and everything. That's the only big complaint, maybe the biggest observation. Now, it's not even a complaint. It's an observation about Hugh Freeze. He ain't one to take one for the team, He ain't one to say, I could say something here about a young man, but I'm not going to, because we're all supposed to be in this together. We're all supposed to win together. And when we don't win, we all lose together. He has way too much comfort with being able to say, our quarterback threw the wrong pass, or, our field goal kicker, boy, he couldn't get it done.
And maybe that's a new trend. People might not like it. Trend that they wouldn't want.
No.
But look, this isn't mamby-pamby YMCA football. These are young men. And if they can't take criticism and say, look, you are the reason we lost. You have been preparing all your life, all summer long, sweating during those 2-a-days, going out there in the middle of the summer with your wide receivers, and you throw a pick six. I didn't throw the pick six. Now, the days I should have coached better. Don't give me – everybody out there knows you coached as good as you could. The guy did not deliver.
No. Here's now we're going to have – I'm working on a promotion for the fall. It's called the Longshore Bingo Card. If on your Longshore Bingo Card, 9 squares, if you had lip flutter and namby-pamby on yours already, you're already 2 in. You are gold right now. You're ahead of the curve.
So on a bingo card, isn't the center square free? Isn't there one?
We're not going to have a free one because John will fill it up without a free one there. But I'm not talking about not criticizing the guy. I'm not talking about saying, man, you've got to throw better. Believe me.
Don't do it in public?
Don't do it in public. I feel like there are very few people on this digital drive row who have a better understanding than my co-host of what it's like to be balled out at practice. I mean, there's very few people that have been exposed to it as frequently as my co-host has been. Coaches yelling at you in practice. That's what practice is for.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at film. Longshore. See right there? You're supposed to run the play to the left, not to the right. Well, wake up, Longshore. Oh, yeah, coach. You're not, that's when you do it. You don't do it in front of the media.
When Saban slapped A.J. McCarron on his rear end coming off the field because he wasn't.
Full rotation, arm around, fastball slump.
Yeah, I'm all over that. I'm loving it, And if the officials, last year, Kalen DeBoer went berserk on the sideline about a bad call. Everybody's thinking, wow, didn't think we were ever going to see that. That's great. So it's okay for the coach to go ballistic for an official,
Yep.
but he can't do it against one of his players?
Yeah.
That's
because the official ain't on his team. You got to build the culture. You got to build the brotherhood. We are all in this together. Unless you screw up, and then I'm singling you out to God's great earth. You know,
that's tough love.
That ain't tough love.
That's
tough
part
love.
of growing up. And if you can't take it, I don't want you in the trenches when it's 4th and 2.
Well, if he's going to do that, I'm going to tell, hey, son of a gun, you ball me out in public, I'll show you.
Yeah,
I'll go smoke porterhouse on him.
Then I won't play again. I mean, this putting your arm around him and hugging the neck like old Pat Dye used to do. Don't give me that.
Pat Dye used to chew on him a pretty good bit as well. I can tell you stories about that, but almost never was it in front of the media. So anyway, I get that, what he's saying about Hugh, and believe me, it ain't like I'm predicting Auburn to go 12-0 and win the SEC championship and go into the college football playoff as the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
But Connor's not buying. He says, he had him 8-4 last year. Like Roger Daltrey once sang, he won't get fooled again.
But wait a minute, Barry, come on. That's the safest bet on the board. Auburn, 8-4, easy. Yeah, every year.
That's what he thought. Last year when he had him 8-4 and they go 5-7, he couldn't even go 8-4. So I understand all of that. But I love him because he always, I'm talking about Connor, because he'll bring up stats. What did he say? Hugh was 2-6 against top 10 team, top 20 teams or something like that. I have to look that stuff up, and I'm not dumb. I can't call that stuff up. Connor's got it right there. I mean, he can tell you who knew that Lincoln Riley could get fired for cause because of a small self-reported infraction in their analyst room in 2023. He didn't have any notes right here. So anyway, very valuable stuff from him, not only because he's really knowledgeable, but because he'll be frank with you. And
no
John
doubt.
and I both respect that. He isn't here to make friends and influence people. You ask him a question, you're going to get an honest answer.
No doubt. That's why I like him as well. And I will tell you this, Barry, the day that Lane Kiffin takes the USC job again, Connor will be on with us the next morning. He ain't buying that.
He may be calling us. Hey, man, we don't even have to make that phone call. So
that was good stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. Of course, Mr. College Football, Tony Barnhart, with us today as well. Always enjoyable. We always enjoy talking to both of those gentlemen. Great stuff. And really appreciate the comments on the River Region Straw chat line.
Fair point.
Well.
Bill from Baltimore. John's bingo card can't have the Auburn North End Zone scoreboard anymore. Yeah. That's the big star of this season coming up. Jackson Arnold ain't got nothing on the North End Zone scoreboard.
I'm going to kind of miss that, Barry. It's kind of an old, just historic part of Jordan-Hare Stadium.
I loved it. Because you had the light bulbs. It wasn't any of this LED, HDMI stuff. You had light bulbs, and on that scoreboard, and I looked at it for years and years. On that scoreboard, there was never a game, never a time when every light bulb worked. There was always at least 2 out. I missed that. It's a little personality. That's a little ambiance.
Did they still have to change the name of the visiting team every week?
Slide it in, slide it out. The other thing about it is that don't worry, Bill. It'll still be on the bingo card because when Auburn had that other scoreboard, that South End Zone scoreboard, John commented on that it's too big, it's too bright, it's poorly located, it's too expensive. So just because they got a new one up there is not going to take it off John's bingo card.
Do we know
if there's anything about it that he does not like, it is still fair game.
Is it? Do we know the total cost on that newest scoreboard?
To be honest,
had to be over $15 million.
To be honest, if I did, I wouldn't tell you because that other scoreboard, just like Neville Arena, has fluctuated in cost depending on John's mood. It's either $80 million, it's been as high as $93 million, $88 million.
The the south end zone scoreboard at Jordan-Hare, 17 million, 19 million. Count that boat anchor. It's 27.
Oh, I forgot about the boat anchor. That's the press box.
Where's my head?
Yeah,
Come
I forgot
on.
about that.
Shouldn't have even brought that up. But
it's amazing how much money they've spent over there. Some people would say wasted.
Are you a big Peter Burns fan?
Yeah, I love Peter Burns.
Peter Burns, another one of those guys. He'll shoot from the hip. He joins us next here live from SEC Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame in downtown Atlanta. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
It's now from the SEC Network, Peter Burns. Always nice enough to drop by and say hello. How you been, Peter?
I'm doing well. How the hell is it already here?
I
know. It just seems like we were last year we were talking about this, and so now you get through, and especially we work through all the way to the College World Series, so spend a lot of time over in Omaha, and then you get a couple of weeks off, and then you're right back to starting to it. So I don't know, it's like the unofficial kind of like get your mind right situation for football.
Speaking of Omaha, I've been wanting to ask you this question for about a month, or a little bit less than a month. Put yourself in these shoes. Game 2 of the College World Series. You're the home plate umpire. LSU.
Oh my God.
Is taking on Coastal Carolina from my Troy Trojans.
Hey, you know what? You're out of here. I'm throwing you out of this interview already. You're done. In fact, you can't even interview the next person. You're throwing out for two interviews in a row.
I need this job.
That was shocking. For those
him out, not throw him out. I know you were looking at it, and goodness gracious, did a great job of showing every angle and every instance in it. But I know you were there. I mean, you were.
For those who don't know, again, so LSU's playing Coastal Carolina. It's a monster game, and sure enough, LSU had already won game 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct,
Kate Anderson had thrown great, so the whole shooting match, LSU can close it out. In first inning, Coastal Carolina's coach starts complaining about the missed strikes or something like that. They give him a warning. He keeps going. He says he didn't hear it, and boom, they run him.
Yep.
And then another coach comes out, and then he falls down. Then they run him, and basically they're like, "You're done."
Yeah.
You never want an official to kind of get, or a referee at any point to go, or umpire to get in the way of a sporting event, and it was unfortunate. And at some point you go, you don't want LSU to win that way, but at the end of the day, LSU was still a better team, top to bottom. Yep. And I think over the course of the game, it definitely played out that way. But I had never seen anything like that, to be honest with you. Nuts.
Peter, earlier this week, Commissioner Sankey talked about 8 or 9 conference games, mentioned that no other league would want to play an SEC schedule. I totally agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on this 9-game thing for a while, but I'm kind of getting, okay, we'll keep it at 8. But we also want to keep the good quality non-conference games. You mentioned some teams are playing, all teams are playing 1, some are playing 2. I don't have a problem with that. If we stay at 8, you got to keep the quality.
It gives you flexibility. In fact, I would go one step further. Everybody else should play 8. The Big 10 should play 8. The Big 12 should play 8. The ACC should play 8. And what you do is then say, all right, guess what? I'm going to have 4 non-conference games.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to play the Big 12 in one of them, an ACC opponent in one of them, a Big 10 opponent in one of them, and the other one is a wild card that I can play whoever I want. And if every single one of those conferences did that, we would have more of a cross-pollination of these schedules. So the ACC can say, hey, listen, man, the SEC is overrated. We just went X and X, 7-2 against them or whatnot. And the Big 10 can say, oh, we deserve more. But what happens right now is we don't have an opportunity to look at the same schedules. And so that's why Sankey, that's why every athletic director, that's why every single SEC coach is like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, you tell me one team in the Big 10, the ACC, or the Big 12 that could go into a fishbowl, pick out any random SEC schedule and go, hell yeah, that's the schedule I want.
Yeah.
That'd be a damn liar if that was the
sure
case.
Wouldn't work.
I think it'd be easier to build a consensus over your proposal than it would be to build a consensus over the SEC.
And that's why everybody's like, oh, the SEC, Brett Bielema, he knows better. Like, the only reason why Brett's saying that over at Illinois right now is because he sure as hell knows that, hey, man, he was in the thick of it over at Arkansas. He don't want any of that smoke any longer. Look at what Indiana did today. Indiana had Virginia on their schedule. Okay, coming up in 2027, they paid them I believe it was $500,000, or they paid them a fee to get out of that game so they can go play the Amish School of Technology. I'm making up a school, and now they have no non-conference games that are going to be anybody that's in the top 75 of any metric And then they might play a Penn State, they might play Wisconsin, they might play maybe an Oregon. So as long as they win one of those three, if they can go 10-2,
they're whistling.
Well, they're a Big Ten team that won won 10 games. That's a bunch of BS. Look at what happened to Indiana last year. And I think Indiana had a great season, but they didn't play anybody. And then all of a sudden, guess what happened when they got into the college football playoff? It did not look the same. So coaches are a little bit kind of salty about that. And I don't blame Sankey and the rest of the coaches going, you don't want our schedule, buddy.
No.
Mm-mm. Are we losing our minds over Arch Manning too early, if at all?
I mean, I always temper. I think we microwave success so quickly now that we don't ever let stories breathe. And I'm part of that machine that does it as far as we got to talk Arch, we got to talk this, we got to talk that. Like, I respect Arch because he could have gone anywhere he wanted to and said, I'm going to be a day one starter. This is who I am. Give me my money. He chose to go play for Steve Sarkisian because Sark had worked with him with the plan and said, listen, we're going to redshirt your freshman year. Your second year, you're going to play sparingly. And when your time to play is here, we're going to give you the reins. And there's a blueprint. And he learned that blueprint, honestly, from Eli. He learned it from Peyton. He's taken more of a macro look than a micro look. So I'm excited to see what the young man can do. I think he's a good player. I'm not Paul Feinbaum, who says he wants to get married to him, and says he's going to win the Heisman. But I think he's handled it the right way. And I think he's in a perfect spot with Sarkisian in this NIL world to get the right product around him.
I wanted to, before we let you go, your thoughts about kind of our home base. Hugh Freeze at Auburn. The fans are getting a little restless. They're tired of these types of seasons. He's talking about a big bowl game. Kalen DeBoer on the other side. Peter, if they don't make the playoffs, Bama fans are going to go crazy. Your thoughts about the Tide and the Tigers?
Just quickly, it's shocking that we would come to an SEC media days and be like, man, nobody's talking about Alabama. And yet here we are. I feel like everybody wants to talk about Georgia, want to talk about Texas, want to talk about all Diego Pavia, all these great storylines. And yet you're damn Alabama. And I think they're going to be really good, really good. And on the flip side of it for Auburn, I think Hugh has heard the comments about whenever he went back and said, I hope we make a bowl game or whatnot. And that rubbed people the wrong way. Yeah. I had an opportunity to talk to Jackson Arnold. You can tell he was relieved that him and Hugh have got together because it just didn't work out. I think he's motivated. He's talented, chip on his shoulder. I think they have the opportunity to do that. And that's why I circled that game against Baylor on that opening Friday night. It's so imperative, not only for Auburn and for Jackson to kind of get going right from the jump, but really kind of to set the tone for the SEC going, all right, there's this style of football versus this style of football. Yeah. And they're going to be carrying the banner from the conference day one.
Always great stuff.
One quick thing I did, because we started with LSU on in with it. Brian Kelly hasn't won an opener since he's been there. Got a big one at Clemson. Mm-hmm. I think his other two games are on the road at Ole Miss, at Alabama. Even if they go 10-2, I think they make the college football.
I mean, that's why. And I talked to Brian, before we came out here, and I was like, I even got into the conversation, he goes, I know, we got to win the damn opener. Yeah. Like I heard he's aware of it. And again, I'm as bullish on that team as I have been a long time because the defense finally looks like an LSU defense. Yeah. It's not historically good defense, but you don't have to be historically good. You have to be top 30 right now, and I think they have a top 30 defense.
Peter Burns, always great stuff from you. Look forward, as always, to your work with writing herd over that organized mayhem that's in front of that camera.
I just want to grow up and have Barry's voice.
Hey, how about that?
That would be fantastic.
They call him still for a reason, Peter.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Burns.
Thanks,
appreciate that. Peter Burns, SEC Network.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. They're licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
At Dixie Overhead Door, we specialize in top-quality garage door solutions for homes across Alabama and Georgia. In need of a garage door repair or a brand new garage door installation, our expert team delivers fast, reliable service with local expertise that you can trust, providing customized solutions and exceptional care every step of the way. Visit us today at DixieOverheadDoor.com and experience the Dixie difference.
Call Dixie and it's done.
Okay, we're back here live at SEC Football Media Days, Day 3. Great stuff from Peter Burns, SEC Network. Man, we've been busy today.
I'm lucky that the men's room is only about 20 yards away because it only takes me 3 minutes to change shirts. You run out, change the pink one out, wear this one, jump back in with John. Here we are.
Beautiful, man. I'm telling you, our wardrobe department, Barry, doing an excellent job today.
Good job.
Getting us suited up. Yeah, Peter Burns, obviously Conor O'Gara today. Kalen DeBoer just addressed the big room here at SEC Football Media Days. Haven't heard anything earth-shattering, nothing big and new about Alabama, just kind of the same old. But it's the theme, Barry, seems to be year 2.
Yeah.
The familiarity. I don't think comfortable is a word you want to hear from this football team and this coaching staff. I think behind closed doors, they're more comfortable with each other. But that's not a term you use in football. But they're more familiar with each other. They know what to expect. They know what's coming, know what the program's about. They know each other. And I think year 2, that's a big step for this team. And, of course, Ryan Grubbs is another. We talked about him with Connor. That I hope they're not making that too big of an emphasis.
Yeah.
But, Barry, I think it does kind of, as I mentioned, help with the comfort factor. And I hate to use that word, but I think you know what I mean.
I like the preseason hype for Ryan Grubb, for a coordinator. College football's built for that. I remember way back in the day, oh, man, we got Ronnie Cottrell. He's going to be one of our recruiters. Watch out. We're going to, you hear? Our new offensive coordinator, Charlie Stubbs.
Yeah.
How about that? Wow, Charlie Stubbs, this is going to be great. I hear a lot of good things. Now, Ryan Grubb, most of you don't know Ryan Grubb from Ryan Leaf. But, hey, Ryan Grubb, I hear he's going to be great and everything. And I think he is. But you got to tap the brakes just a little bit. Kalen DeBoer, obviously we're up here, didn't get to hear his interview, but we were watching him down through the glass here. And we get a couple of nuggets from him. And none of them are especially earth-shattering. No. You're not going to hear, ain't nothing going to be on a locker room clipboard, a locker room bulletin board after the end of the day today. DeBoer confirmed what Ryan Grubb has said before. If they played today, Ty Simpson would be Alabama's starting quarterback. Whoa. Yeah. That's just kicking the can down the road. I think he will be, but all that is giving Simpson a little bit of confidence, giving him the mantle of responsibility for being a team leader, but also it's also keeping that carrot in front of Keelan Russell.
Sure,
wait a minute, you guys told me whenever you signed that I was going to have a chance to compete for the starting, and I'm out. In this day and age, that's important.
It is, and Barry, I'd love to be a fly on the wall to hear what some of those conversations have been like with Keelan Russell.
I would too.
Because you got to know, okay, this is our plan. This is what we're expecting. But, if Ty Simpson has a really good year, is he going to go pro? I just there again, I hadn't seen enough of him to make that statement. Yep. I mean, if he tears it up, I guess so, but I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting him to come back. Is Keelan Russell coming back? Rodney Orr doesn't seem to think so.
Well, 2 of them ain't.
Yeah.
It all depends. So it reminds me, it's just a throwaway quote is what it is. You can't use it. It's not much of anything. And if we played today, how many times, honestly, back in the day, roaming the halls of high school, John's talking to a girl, and he uses that same type of, listen, baby, if the prom were tonight.
Yeah, we'd be going.
We'd be going.
Yeah.
But it's not. So, but I mean, if it was held tonight, you'd be my girl. I can go ahead and say that. Well, that doesn't really mean anything. Well, that ain't the point, Yeah. Oh, my
I think
gosh.
there again, that's all part of the juggling act, and it's what these guys are getting paid for.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting, Barry. A lot of things were interesting in our interview with both Peter Burns and Connor O'Gara. We talked about, obviously, Connor isn't buying Auburn. He doesn't believe in them. He thinks it's going to be another tough year. He's also not buying Florida State. I mean, can Florida State, can they, I mean, I know they ain't going 2-10. 6-6?
Florida State absolutely swung and missed last year, and it absolutely blew up their season when they signed DJ Uiagalelei out of the transfer portal.
Yep.
Who was it we had on the air one time, and they were saying, it was Luganbill.
Yep.
He said, I'm telling you, DJ, you cannot play.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You know, he had a really good couple of games as a backup at Clemson. He had one big game as a starter against Notre Dame. Didn't do anything the rest of his Clemson career. Didn't do diddly squat against when he was with Oregon State. And it was right. I got the same vibe from Thomas Castellanos, the Boston College quarterback who came in last year to Tallahassee and beat Florida State. He ain't a program changer. He's right. He may be, along with Pavia, the most confident quarterback, but it's like the old Winston Churchill quote about a member of parliament and the opposition. He said that he is a humble man, but he's got a lot to be humble about. I kind of feel, Castellanos is a confident guy. Don't know why, but he is. He's a decent player. He can do some things, but he ain't turning that program
No, he's
around.
not.
And you'll find that no matter. I thought it was interesting what he said about Gus. I'm not sure Gus can tailor a whole lot to him. We said way back when Gus came in and he got the Auburn job because of his offense, and he got the Auburn OC job because of his offense. You and I both said sooner or later, like everything else in college football, people are going to catch up.
Sure,
they've caught up.
Yeah, I
they
think
caught up years ago.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about that. And their quarterback, had a great game last year as the BC quarterback against Florida State. But, maybe it's exciting the fan base, exciting the crowd. I get it. But there's no doubt, Barry, that's a big one for Alabama, a double-digit favorite on the road again. They were in that spot twice last year, got beat straight up. They got to start out with a really good, impressive game. In my mind, they need to go out there and really look good and impressive in week one. Don't want to show it all, obviously, because they got Georgia coming up in about 4 weeks after that. But they'll get through these directional schools. Wisconsin's middle of the pack Big Ten team. From everything I'm hearing and reading, they're not going to be anything great this year. Certainly don't want to overlook them.
Yeah.
Why that game's at 11 o'clock in the morning, I do not know. Obviously, they didn't check with my schedule. But be that as it may, I think we'll open it up in Tallahassee is going to be big, not only for Alabama, but for Ty Simpson. People want to see, what can he do? Is he for real? Is he a legitimate number one quarterback?
People ask those same questions about Mac Jones, who had been a backup, to some pretty good quarterbacks, Jalen and Tua, and we finally got the starting job. Is he going to be any good? Well, he was pretty good. Took him to a national championship, threw for 4,000 yards. Is Ty Simpson going to be closer to a Mac Jones, finally ready when he has his opportunity?
Or a Burt Jones?
Or Blake Barnett, who famously started the opener against USC.
It was Southern Cal in
lasted
Dallas. 2
series. Well, not even a quarter. That's exactly right. Is that what we're going to see? Or are we going to see more like the Mac Jones? Hey, this guy, he's got some game to him. I can see why he was a 5-star. Or will he be like Blake Barnett, banished to the bench and banished into Bama irrelevance? After 2 series against USC. Jury is going to be out until it happens. That's one of the big thing is they got to beat Florida State.
No doubt.
The number 2 thing, they got to beat Florida State, and Ty Simpson's got to look good. A late field goal to 52-yard field goal at the Horn to win it 31-29. And Simpson goes 15 for 35 for $129, 2 touchdowns, 2 INTs. That ain't going to ease the Bama masses.
No, it'll be interesting. I hadn't really thought about that, Barry, but if Ty Simpson goes to Tallahassee and struggles, and they put Keelan Russell in, and the floodgates open up, I think that'll answer your question of who won't be on the roster next year.
And that's what I was leading up to with you. Do you throw the kid in there? I mean, true freshman?
If they're struggling, I think you got to. And how bad of a struggle? I mean, they're getting a couple of picks, lays the ball on the ground.
Yeah.
Just not moving.
Swipes the leg of a defender on his way to a pick six.
Stagnant. There's not a lot of life in the offense. I think, you might want to do that. Of course, he didn't do it last year in Norman. But that was a totally different.
People were screaming for a change at quarterback.
Kidding. But I don't know. That's why I think that game's going to be so interesting. I think there's a lot of scenarios that could play out. Obviously, the best one is Ty Simpson has a great game. They win by 2-3 touchdowns, and everybody's happy and yippee, everything's great. Throwing him up there with Arch Manning. I think Jacko Rear wore number 15 as a quarterback at Alabama. Has anybody else? Can you help me out on the River Region Straw chat line?
I can name a number 15.
What other quarterback wore 15?
Oh, okay. Well, I can name a guy I think that started out his career as a quarterback, number 15. He provided the only highlight, as a matter of fact, in a game at UCLA. I remember that well.
Freddie Millins.
And Freddie Millins, was it a punt return or the kickoff return?
It was a punt return.
Punt return against the Bruins, and, all the Crimson Roses are blooming as they should, and
that's right.
all this kind of stuff. And that was it. By the end of the game, the UCLA fans, all 20,000 of them, overrated, which I never have understood. Anyway, Freddie Millins. Marquise Mays, I think, was number 15. No, he was 4.
Did Freddie line up in the shotgun from time to time and just take off running? I think he did it against Georgia in the SEC championship game. Or was it Florida?
I think it was Florida. I think it was
Florida.
I think
the
it was
SEC
Florida.
championship game, they put him in the shotgun. He took the snap, just took off running. But he was not a true quarterback. I don't think Alabama – I'm trying to think. So I know there's one out there. Jacko Rear, I believe, wore 15. But who else wore 15 as a starting quarterback at Alabama?
I can see somebody in my mind's eye. Get on the River Region Straw chat line and let us know. 15. Go ahead and Google it. That'd be fine.
You think about it, man, there's just not a lot of 15s out there.
Tebow was 15. Oh, heck yeah, he was.
That was Warford.
No, yeah, we've been staring at the number 7 jersey the whole. Yeah, Tebow was 15.
Yeah.
Auburn quarterback 15. Can't think of one. There's not that many. Let's take a break.
For some reason, Barry, it's etched in my mind. Auburn had a quarterback that wore number 2.
Yeah, they did. Only played for 1 year, though, so you've got a good memory to remember that 1 year from that guy.
Yeah. I've got 180,000 memories of that guy.
That's
kidding
exactly
me?
Right. Yeah. If you got a bingo winner, go ahead and text us right now. If you have filled out your bingo card with that square, you can be a winner too. Stand by.
So what is your plan? We're going to play bingo one day, and you're going to see if in a full program, if I can fill up the bingo card or just get bingo.
No, fill it up, because that ain't gonna. All right, for those of you who had top left corner allegedly, all right, go ahead. You can put your marker on that one. All right, namby-pamby, wishy-washy, nerd knocker, lip flutter, throat clear, and what was the other one you got? Oh, yeah, they rolled Toomer's corner when Bear died. Right, okay, you're the winner. There you go. So, yeah. Stay with us. We'll wrap it up in just a moment. Having a great time at the SEC Football Media Days at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Now through July 31st, take advantage of the Quadruple Zero event at Stivers Ford in Montgomery. 0% APR for up to 48 months. 0 down payment. 0 payments for 90 days. And 0 cost for maintenance for 2 years or 24,000 miles. The Quadruple Zero event offer is available on select 24 and 25 model F-150s, Explorers, Expeditions, Broncos, Mustangs, and Escapes. Stop by Stivers Ford at 4000 Eastern Boulevard in Montgomery for more information. Stivers Ford, where price sells cars and trucks.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Hey, we're back at it here, about 10 minutes to the top of the hour from SEC Football Media Days here in Atlanta. And you busted me there, Barry, but just to let everybody know, Philip is back in Auburn. Philip is not here in Atlanta.
He hasn't been here at all. He was here the other day.
Yeah, he was here the other day. He was here yesterday for Auburn.
Yeah.
He was here for day one. He's back in Auburn based on his byline that you caught me reading earlier today.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because I thought I saw that. Whenever you sent me the picture of him the other day, when you were down here and I wasn't, I looked. It was a picture from the back. It was downstairs.
Yeah.
It was a picture from the back. I wouldn't have been able to necessarily recognize him. He's gray-haired and he's large, except for the shape of his head.
True.
I was able to figure that out, and the fact that he was writing with a La Quinta pen. I knew that was probably a dead
and his
giveaway as well.
floral Caribbean shirt. He'd been on a cruise. He sported that. Obviously, Philip is yet to hear our interview that we had with Connor O'Gara earlier today, because his story today says confidence soars as Freeze's third Auburn season nears.
I got a picture. Maybe I'll share the picture tomorrow of John reading Philip, a.k.a. John doing his Auburn prep, because I was too busy taking that I was going to warn him ahead of time.
Yeah. How did you do that without me noticing? I guess I was so engaged.
He said, no question. I mean, you could have somebody fall down the stairs beside us, and John wouldn't have noticed if he's reading Philip. But I wanted to turn you away from that. I have nothing against Philip. I like Philip. I don't read him a lot. He's not my favorite writer, but he's a senior college football writer, auburnundercover.com for those of you who do not know. But I will tell you this. If you are a subscriber and you are planning to read Philip's piece today called Confidence Soars as Freeze's third Auburn season nears, and you're a diabetic, I want to warn you away from that one. If you're a diabetic or you don't want to have tooth decay or something, because it is sweet.
Sugar-coated.
Wow, there is a lot of sugar falling.
It's going to make you feel good. I can promise you that if you're an Auburn supporter.
Yeah.
All right, Barry, so we got Bama, Mississippi State, Florida, and OU. Here's what I've been hearing. I got to take a closer look. The consensus here this week is that Florida has the most difficult schedule in the league.
The problem is, and I don't disagree, the problem is you and I both were here to tell everybody last year that Florida had the most difficult schedule in the league.
Yeah.
Look, Billy Napier, I thought he rebounded spectacularly from that hot seat. And unfortunately, part of it came from the fact that Graham Mertz, a starting quarterback, tore his ACL, and then they bring in the big freshman Lagway, and he was strong. Florida is going to be number 3, number 4 in the SEC East, which is not where they're normally going to be, but it's a whole heck of a lot better than what they had. Napier can coach. I've told you that before. But again, after they take on the Long Island Blackbirds and the USF Bulls, they go to LSU. They go to Miami. They have Texas at home. They go to Texas A&M. Georgia is supposed to be in Jacksonville. I think it'll be in Atlanta. I can't remember. And then Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State. Not easy for them. So
the Gators of Florida are actually playing 3 other in-state schools? How dare they?
South Florida, Miami, and Florida State. This is another example. Hey, why not? They are an SEC school, the SEC school in the state of Florida. Why not
spread the love around a little bit. Also,
I'm just not into maybe being charitable to other football programs.
Just a quick note, Oklahoma, who do we have last week that loved Oklahoma? Oh, Phil Steele.
Sure.
Phil Steele loved Oklahoma. He's got them, I think, as their number one. His number one.
Biggest, most improved.
Most improved from last year, right ahead of Texas A&M at number 3. Oklahoma's got a really good quarterback. A lot of people might say they didn't have one last year. His name is John Mateer. You'll hear a lot about him. Oklahoma, they got Auburn and Alabama that are,
Auburn is their opening SEC opponent this year. They have,
and
Auburn
it's in Norman.
In Norman on September the 20th. Alabama just happens to be off that week. If anybody was interested.
Yeah. So,
Auburn's their opening SEC opponent, and then they're off before they play Kent State. What's up with that? Why are you off before you play Kent State? And what are you doing playing Kent State? Why don't you play Oklahoma A&T or something? You got to keep it in the state.
They're not in charge of their off weeks, are they? At least in the league. I thought they weren't unless they had a non-conference game coming up.
I think the league determines that, Barry. But, but how come Alabama's got an off week before Georgia and LSU?
Yeah. So Oklahoma, they go to Tennessee. They go to Alabama. And, of course, they play Texas every year. They host LSU at the very end. That's going to be huge for them.
Auburn's got an off week before Mercer.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
It's basically 2 off weeks.
Isn't Mercer down in Macon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're playing a non-conference team from the state of Georgia, which is, it's a private school, but still you're helping out the state of Georgia. Go figure it out.
Speaking of Georgia, Barry, we talked about this last night. I didn't really take a hard look at it. Georgia's toughest non-conference game is Georgia Tech. I know they got to play Tech. I guess
Georgia Tech will be pretty good, but yeah, your point is well made.
They got to play them.
And that's by design. Kirby's, all these other schools are, beating their brains out with 2 quality non-conference opponents. Kirby says, we play in the SEC. Give me one that I have to play. I ain't playing another one if I can help it because I've already got one Power 4 non-conference game we got to play. He thinks he's discovered something. Okay, a value judgment was made. A price point was given to us. Tomorrow at SEC Media Days, Missouri, Kentucky, Arkansas, and Texas A&M. We'll cover it.
Yeah, we will.
But we ain't going to cover it here.
Yeah, that's right. We will wrap up our SEC Media Days coverage later today here in Atlanta. Then we'll be heading back to our home bases. We'll, of course, be broadcasting tomorrow and, of course, recapping today with Alabama, Mississippi State, Florida, and Oklahoma. And, of course, looking ahead to tomorrow with Kentucky, Missouri, Arkansas, and Texas A&M. We'll have all the info and all the latest news coming out of Atlanta for you tomorrow here on the program as well.
It will be, I think, the wrap-up of our 28th SEC Media Days together. It'll be my 34th that we're wrapping up. And I'm proud to say, and this has been a point of pride for all those years, that it will therefore be the 34th straight year that I will not vote on the All-SEC preseason team.
Yeah.
I got a philosophical problem with it. We're here to cover things. We're here to comment on things. We're not here to make the news. And in the past, it used to be a little bit more fun to ignore the SEC ballot because John would
they'd hand it to you.
Yeah, they'd hand it to you, piece of paper. John would crumple it up, and he'd Kobe, and he'd fire it in, to the trash can over there on the right and everything. And we kind of made sort of a ritual out of it. Now they just email it to you, and you got a link, and you have to go online. It's not as fun to do that, or it's not as fun to ignore doing that as it was. Because at least you got to shoot baskets with the old crumpled up.
Well, Barry, I saw it went click, delete. Yeah. When I got that last night, I'm with you.
And you can't put it in the junk mail because they send you some stuff that you really need,
Sure. But and then, Barry, you got, there again, I saw some account that they have this poll, but the media doesn't do a very good job of predicting.
Well, the media doesn't do a very good job of voting for it, if you ask me about it. There's doubtlessly over 1,000 people here. It used to be easier to be able to predict because it was so crammed together in Hoover.
Yep.
Now it's spread out a little bit more. I definitely think it's over 1,000, though. And I think last time it was something like 241 people. I didn't go last year. So if it's 25% votership out of the total attendees, they'll probably take that.
All right. Before we wrap up, prediction. Where will we be this time next year?
Nothing new. I predict next year you and I will be broadcasting this event. By this time next year, if things go the way they have gone with Longshore and McKnight, we'll both have on diamond pinky rings, stick pins, and wide brim velour hats.
Yeah.
Next year, I'm thinking we will be. Oh, where's my prediction? We will be at the Nashville Grand Hyatt in Nashville, Tennessee.
I kind of think so too.
Yeah, and you think I've been having a hard time telling everybody, yeah, I know Gurn Jr. Wait till we get to his home place.
Yeah.
Wait till we get to his mean streets.
I think Nashville could be on the radar.
That's next year. That's my prediction.
We will see. So, yeah, I'm kind of going with that as well. All right, so man, want to thank everybody here at the College Football Hall of Fame, everybody in Atlanta, all of our guests that we've had. We got more to come. We've got several others in the can that we'll be playing the remainder of the week.
Yeah.
But always a good job. These guys put on a great event.
We appreciate them. John appreciates a couple of you state troopers on 85, kind of looking the other way for a little while.
Yeah.
But we appreciate Gurn Jr. being with us as well. From SEC Football Media Days of the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, he's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.